I'm Jeremy Olivier with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. A grilling in Taiwan's legislature as officials from across the government answer questions about how prepared the country is or isn't for another round of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs. Reporter Reese Ayers has been following the questioning and has the latest. Reese, what did the ministry reps have to say about the ongoing talks with the U.S.?
Well, Jeremy, a lot of waffling and speculation, but not much in the form of any kind of concrete answers from the legislature this morning. There was a gathering of high-ranking ministers and officials, including from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, from the Trade and Economy Ministries, also from the National Security Bureau, and a representative from the Office of Trade Negotiation, the Deputy Chief Negotiator. They were there to discuss the ongoing negotiations and any potential results. They were also being questioned about the possible impacts that more tariffs from the Trump administration might have on Taiwan and any possible strategies Taiwan could employ to mitigate the impact of those tariffs. Now, regarding the negotiations, there hasn't been much movement there at all. After several rounds of talks since Trump's explosive announcement back in April, Taiwan is yet to strike a deal with the United States, but it's also yet to receive one of Donald Trump's letters, as some other countries have, declaring a new tariff rate for that country, with the Deputy Trade Negotiator saying that they still hope there's time that a deal can be struck.
那接下来后续我们大概什么时候可以预计有个大概结果？
所以我们现在不论我们拿到的税率，我们现在当然没有收到关税信函，但是不论有没有收到，我觉得我们到8月1号以前努力谈判就是我们的重点。
Deals made with other countries already, with the US, have some lawmakers worried that Taiwan could settle for a similar bad deal with the United States, like the one between the US and Indonesia, for example, which will see 19% tariffs on Indonesian products moving to the United States, but no tariffs on products moving the other way.
这个代价你觉得高不高？
很高，
很高。台湾的代价会这么高吗？不知道。
我们希望这是一个我们整个总体经济转型的一部分了。是。我们也之前也说到的是说，我们希望这是一个优化我国的这个经贸体制的一个契机。
Now, there were plenty of diplomatic responses like the one there from the Deputy Foreign Minister, but no real answers about where things are right now or where things might be going. Naturally, negotiations are mostly taking place behind closed doors. In terms of preparations, Taiwan's legislature, which is controlled by the opposition, has recently passed a special budget to help Taiwan deal with the potential fallout of any more Trump tariffs, although that has caused some controversy, particularly one part of the special budget which would hand hard cash back to the people of Taiwan. But that special budget has yet to receive presidential approval.
Thanks for that update, Reese. That was Reese Ayers reporting live from the TaiwanPlus newsroom. More on tariffs. Trump says a deal with Indonesia is set, and another one with Vietnam is nearly finished. But as the August 1st deadline to settle the levies nears, Washington's biggest trading partner, the EU, is warning it's ready to retaliate if talks fail. John Van Trieste reports.
Donald Trump seems bullish on tariff talks lately. The U.S. president says he has a couple more deals under his belt. He's keeping the final details of a trade deal with Vietnam to himself for now. But he has shared what his administration's agreed to with Indonesia and said more deals are possible soon.
They are going to pay 19%, and we are going to pay nothing. I think it's a good deal for both parties, but we will have full access into Indonesia. And we have a couple of those deals that are going to be announced. India basically is working along that same line. We're going to have access into India.
It's not the 90 deals in 90 days he'd earlier promised. Besides these ones, there's been an agreement with the United Kingdom and an interim one with China. Still, Trump says to expect more breakthroughs before an August 1st deadline his administration set.
We're working on probably 5 or 6. Of the 5 or 6, I'm not sure I really want to do them. You know, you want somebody that knows how to negotiate. But we'll probably have 2 or 3. You know, we insist on opening up the country, which is a big deal.
Which 5 or 6 could make a big difference, as tariffs on some of the biggest U.S. trade partners like Canada, Mexico, and the European Union are still up in the air. And all have in one way or another pledged to protect their own workers. Mexico and the EU in particular look ready to fight back. Mexico's president had this to say Wednesday.
Nosotros recuerden que tenemos una mesa de aquí al 1 de agosto y esperamos llegar a un acuerdo, incluido el tema del jitomate. Si el 1 de agosto no se llega al acuerdo, pues ya estaremos informando algunas otras acciones.
And Germany's chancellor said that while Europe's willing to hold back for now, it's ready to respond if need be.
Ich habe über das Wochenende mit dafür geworben, dass wir jetzt keine reziproken Zölle in Kraft setzen. Das hätte sonst automatisch schon am gestrigen Tage stattfinden können. Aber bitte, die amerikanische Regierung soll auch nicht unsere Bereitschaft unterschätzen, auf übermäßig hohe Zollbelastungen mit ähnlichen Maßnahmen auch zu reagieren.
And compared to a trade war with countries like Indonesia, not even in the top 15 U.S. trade partners, a trade war with the likes of Mexico and the EU could do real damage. Talks continue, but with barely 2 weeks until the August 1st deadline, big economic waves could be just around the corner. Ethan Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has dismissed Donald Trump's tariff threats against Moscow's trading partners if it doesn't reach a peace agreement with Ukraine within 50 days.
У нас все-таки вот так же беспрецедентное количество санкций против нас объявлено. Справляемся, я нисколько не сомневаюсь, что мы справимся. Этот вывод тоже.
Lavrov made the comments during his trip to China. He met on Tuesday with Chinese President Xi Jinping, who says the two countries should, quote, strengthen mutual support, according to Chinese state media. The meeting came after Trump declared a 50-day deadline to resolve the war in Ukraine. China says U.S. coercion would not end the conflict and continues to claim neutrality. Beijing has never denounced Russia's actions in Ukraine. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has reiterated that his government opposes any change to the status quo in the Taiwan Strait.
What we do is continue to support a one-China policy. We support the status quo. By definition, we don't support any unilateral action on Taiwan. That's been our position for a long period of time.
It's the second time Albanese made such comments on his 6-day visit to China, his country's top trading partner. It comes after the Financial Times reported that the U.S. has been pressing Australia to clarify what it would do if the U.S. and China went to war over Taiwan. Marines in Taipei were up early practicing how to defend Songshan Airport, the capital's main air transport hub. The drills simulate how Taiwan's military would take back the airport if enemy troops were to land via helicopter. This group of Marines is specifically tasked with defending Taipei's airport. The drills come on day 8 of Taiwan's annual Kuang exercises, which end on Friday. Wednesday marks 80 years since the world's first test of a nuclear bomb. As people in Taiwan practice taking cover in air raid shelters for Kuang, the country and the world continue to live in the shadow of Trinity's mushroom cloud. Bryn Thomas reports.
On July 16, 1945, a blinding flash lit up the sky over New Mexico, visible for miles. Its shockwave still reverberates around the world today.
From this observation tower, scientists watch the result of their years of work. Miles into the air rises the giant shape of the now historic explosion.
The Trinity test, the fruit of a top-secret Manhattan project, was the world's first nuclear blast, but it would not be the last. Less than a month later, the U.S. would drop a smaller atomic bomb on Japan.
One bomb exploding 1,500 feet above the target, leaving no crater. 500,000 people lived in Hiroshima, a town the size of Sheffield. Here and there, an isolated structure reminds the onlooker that here was once a city.
140,000 people died at Hiroshima, vaporized or burned alive, or later dying from the effects of radiation. 3 days later, the bombings of Nagasaki killed 70,000 more. The attacks at the end of World War II marked the start of an 80-year arms race that still shapes global security today.
The houses actually burn before the following blast brings disintegration.
Early nuclear weapons were essentially carefully timed mechanical devices, like world-ending mousetraps. After the Manhattan Project, the real challenge wasn't the science, but the fuel. After all, the Manhattan Project built the Trinity bomb in wooden shacks in the desert. And it didn't take long for others to follow in the race for ever deadlier weapons of mass destruction.
A brilliance of 500 suns lights hundreds of miles of the Pacific, and the force of 1 million tons of TNT is released. 15 seconds later, the light is still unbearable. Observers may well squint, for they may have witnessed a prelude to world destruction.
8 countries officially have nuclear weapons: the US, Russia, the UK, France, China, India, Pakistan, and most recently, North Korea. Israel is believed to have them, but has never officially confirmed it. China, which has long threatened to take Taiwan by force, tested its first nuclear bomb in the 1960s, pushing Taiwan to attempt developing its own bomb in the early 1970s. But the effort was ultimately halted under international pressure.
Meanwhile, the world asks, if this is the pinnacle of man's creative genius, then surely world peace is not beyond his reach.
80 years since the Trinity test, Taiwan is holding air raid drills as part of its annual Hangguang exercises. In the event of an attack, civilians are expected to take cover in shelters across the country. But against modern thermonuclear weapons, those shelters would offer little real protection. If a bomb like the Trinity device were detonated over Taipei, it could level much of the city and kill nearly 200,000 people. By comparison, if one of China's Dongfeng 4 missiles hit the same spot, it could kill over 3 million. And if it were Russia's Tsar Bomba, the most powerful weapon ever detonated, the death toll could reach 6 million.
In seconds, the fireball erupts into a geyser that towers 25 miles into the stratosphere, spreading into a 100-mile-wide mushroom cloud.
Treaties and arms controls have helped reduce the threat of nuclear war, but we are by no means in the clear.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
Агрессию против России со стороны любого неядерного государства, но с участием или при поддержке ядерного государства предлагается рассматривать как их совместное нападение на Российскую Федерацию. Также четко фиксируются условия перехода России к применению ядерного оружия.
Since the start of 2025, there have been multiple conflicts involving nuclear-armed states and their allies. Fighting broke out between Pakistan and India, Russia's invasion of Ukraine is ongoing, and the US has carried out bombing missions in Yemen and Iran, and Israel continues its war in Gaza. And with Chinese President Xi Jinping threatening to invade Taiwan by 2027, another could soon be on the horizon. As humanity continues to balance on the tightrope it first stepped onto 80 years ago, it's unlikely we've felt the last aftershocks of the Trinity test. John Su and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more of our stories. Finally, check out these athletes competing in the North Pole Marathon. They're braving temperatures as low as -8 degrees. I'm Jeremy Olivier. Take care and see you next time.